Episode number 19, baby. We just finished Festool Shop Talk with Amanda Russell, who is also known as Sawdust Woman. She's a teacher's assistant at Austin School of Furniture, and she's an apprentice for Philip Morley Furniture. Check this out. She is an up-and-coming furniture builder, and she's got some great insight into the community. Hey, pay attention.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Shop Talk number 19. We have a very special guest. When's the last time I talked to you? A few weeks ago in Rubio? Yeah.
April.
Yeah, we have, oh, wow. Boy, that went quick, huh? Holy
Yeah,
moly. Everybody, we have Amanda Russell. A lot of you, including myself, found her on Instagram as Sawdust Woman. And she is a teacher's assistant at Austin School of Furniture. And by the way, Amanda, as I'm doing this, correct me if I'm wrong. And she's an apprentice for Philip Morley at Philip Morley Furniture. Did I get that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Cool. So, how you been? Good?
Good. Busy.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, how's the weather down there, man? It is blistering hot and humid here.
It's bad. Today's not too bad, but it's been pretty rough.
By the way, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today, Amanda. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
I'll just let everybody know I met Amanda down at the Rubio Festool Makers Challenge. And, sometimes when you get together with a bunch of people, you don't really get a long time to chat, but you and I chatted a bit. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in woodworking, how you hooked up at Austin School of Furniture?
Yeah, so I moved to Austin, Texas about 7 years ago. So my dad and my grandfather both are woodworkers. So I kind of grew up around it. I didn't really take an interest in it until my early 20s. And then it just, my dad showed me how to use a lathe and it just sort of clicked. So I was looking into schools and bartending at the time, and Austin Community College has a woodworking program. So I just packed up and moved to Austin, jumped in that program, and then that's actually where I met Phil, who's one of my instructors. And Austin Waldo, who runs Austin School of Furniture, was also in that team program. So kind of all through that, we all met.
Wow, that is really cool. I didn't even know that. One of the highlights of going down there is we did a shop talk with Austin at Austin School of Furniture. That is quite the school, huh? Hey, has it always been in that building?
No, so we started out in East Austin, or South Austin, I'm sorry, in a really, really small classroom space. I think we had room for 4 or 5 benches, and then moved to a larger warehouse, like woodworking collective shop. And that was pretty intense. We had, I couldn't remember the square footage, but enough for 8 students. But this is 4 or 5 times the size of what we had before. So it's really just an impressive operation that Austin's pulled off.
Yeah.
You saw the.
Oh my God, I was like heaven on earth. I think
Right.
that was just fun. That was one of the first podcasts we did where we didn't go live on Instagram, and I just got to hang out, have a cup of coffee, and just chill at the bench with Austin Waldo. It was awesome. I think I said we're in Austin, with Austin, at Austin about 100 times. It was overkill, but I just love that.
Right.
People don't even know that. Hey, so were you a student at Austin School of Furniture and then became a teacher's assistant?
No, I did take a class there in their first space, a sharpening class, and then once we moved to the larger space, I became an assistant. So I did take one class.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hey, what's a day like there? I mean, what do you do as a teacher's assistant? You do all the prep? What do you do?
So I have done prep work. I mostly assist with the fundamentals classes now, which Austin's doing majority of the prep work now, and I just show up day of, and it's a 4-hour class. So I'm doing, machine setup while the instructor's talking, and just kind of keeping an eye out, seeing if students need some extra help here and there. So kind of in the background, which I like. Um, I think I've learned a lot assisting because I get to kind of see the instructors kind of in their zone. So I get to kind of see like, oh, I can see this person. It's not like clicking, right? So I kind of get to do the background work, which I enjoy a lot. I've learned a lot just doing that.
That's interesting. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to call anybody out, but what do you mean if you don't see the instructor clicking?
I think, well, I know the expression because I've been there where I'm like, I don't quite understand. And it's just explaining something a different way to somebody. That we all learn, there's visual learners, there's hands-on, like it's a little different for everybody. So, and I've been there as a student where I'm like, okay, this makes no sense until I actually see what they're talking about. Or I just needed explained a different way for it to click. So, as a student, I get it.
Yep. No. Sometimes I'm in a training class, learning about a Festool product, and I'm a lot of people laugh, but I'm kind of in the back. Say I'm in Germany, and there's 50 of us trainers, and I look at it and I go, there was one particular item one time, and I said, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Then all of a sudden, we break away into smaller groups, and I start messing with it. And I go, oh, good, now I get it, right? It's how you learn and how you click. That's why I asked, because as an instructor, and you know this as well, you have to teach on all different levels so that person gets it. And as an instructor, you see the light bulb go off, right?
Right.
Yeah.
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 And I mean, a room full of 12 students, you can't see that light bulb go off for everybody. So I like, I'm in the back of the room kind of who's not getting it or who is, and like who needs a little extra help. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I didn't know. I always wondered what a teaching assistant did. I was like, is that the person who has to sand everything? Jokingly.
No, I didn't sign up for that.
No. And what a lot of people don't realize is when you teach a class, that may be an 8-hour class, but that's like 2 days of prep prior too. There's a lot of preparation for a class to make sure it goes smooth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for sure. Cool. So, let's see. Besides your father and grandfather as woodworkers, who was your biggest influence in your life?
Well, obviously Phil. It was.
Is he in that shop with you right now?
No, but I'm sure he's watching on here, so I gotta say it. I mean, even as a student, Phil's style of teaching, which is really important to me, and it's a goal for me eventually, is to become a teacher. Just the way he explains things, the little nuances about stuff, and just the way his brain works has always been something I really admired. So when he offered to take me on, I was like, absolutely. Like it was instant yes, obviously, but and even just design, his design abilities, just I mean, obviously it's going to be Phil, but he's been all around hugest inspiration. So.
And he's a really cool guy too, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's fun.
It helps he has a sense of humor, right?
Yeah, for sure. I know they love him at Mark Adams School of Woodworking. He's teaching again this year, isn't he?
He just got back from a class.
Cool. Yeah. I've heard from students, they say, man, we took a class with Philip Morley, and he was just unbelievable. So hopefully he's listening, and I just gave you a compliment, Phil.
We'll see.
So you're an apprentice for him. Describe a day. How many days a week do you do this? And describe a day working for him.
It's almost full time now.
I'm sorry, with him. With him.
It's almost full time now, and right now currently he's in doing the intensive program at Austin School of Furniture. So I'm kind of in here by myself a lot right now. But usually what it involves is a lot of prep work, mill work, which I enjoy. And then he kind of gets me set up for certain operations. Like he'll be like, okay, this is the jig, this is the process, just keep going. And so a lot of it's small batch production type things. Like I'm working on eight lounge chairs right now, taking them through the process. But if he's working on a custom piece, you know, I'm prepping veneer or sanding or milling out all the parts, so he's ready to go and to do the next step.
So I was on your account on Instagram. I think it was Instagram, and I saw you teaching how to use a bandsaw to get the straight rift or on that white oak. What was that for?
Mm-hmm. So that's for the lounge chairs right now. So the chairs have two side panels and a back panel, and we are doing some riffs on oak on some of them, and yeah, they want a sap line with a really clean sap line in the middle. So yeah, those are for the lounge chairs.
Yeah, because I mean, just watching the 2 or 3 stories or reels or whatever posts, I was like, that is really cool because she's actually teaching that right there, and that's for everybody. And I'm just so impressed at social media sometimes how. So I learned this. There's a lot of people on YouTube, but there are not a lot of people teaching or creating content. And I mean, I think that's wonderful what you're doing. It's impressive because you're teaching people as you're learning. You really like woodworking, don't you? You can tell.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's been for me since it just clicked, and then it's been a consistent thing in my life that I just get a lot of joy from. So
yeah.
And being, you know, as I'm learning, like I understand like I'm in a very fortunate position. So yeah, I want to share as much of that process as possible. And I just think it's so cool. Like I've learned so much on Instagram and social media on how to do this. Like it's a great resource. So just kind of paying that forward.
Me too. Me as well. I just think
Right.
it's a lot of fun, and the people I get to meet like you and hang out. That was fun down there in Austin.
Yeah, that was
cool.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
I can't say it enough. What a gem that school is. Man, if I lived down there, I would take every daggone class just to hang out in that space. It's really cool. They've done it seems like that's the hub of the woodworking community in Austin too. What you guys have done with you and Phil and Austin. And then I'm on the website and I see, and I didn't know the affiliation. I think Austin was telling me, but the Texas Woodworking Festival.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, are you guys the sponsor of that now?
So Austin started the Texas Woodworking Festival, and it started off pretty small the first year. I mean, it was still impressive the amount of people that showed up, and I want to say that was 2018 or 2019, and then it just kept each year it's just exponentially grown. But Austin runs that as well. I'm so impressed with Austin, like running a school and running an event of that size is just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how somebody handles all that.
I did ask him if he sleeps. He didn't answer that. So.
Right. Here's your answer, right?
Yeah, it was fun. It's such a neat community down there. I've met a few other people that I know are linked to the school, and I think you know Leslie Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
met her.
Yeah.
I met her and Aaron. Is it Aaron Fox?
Mm-hmm. Aaron Fox,
I met them at IWF, I think, in 2018, I think it was. And I was just like, I know you. I've seen your chair. I love it. You know?
Right.
For me and woodworking, I'm just really impressed with the people who have skills with woodworking, but people who have the eye for design. And I know I'll go back and say Phil's great, but I think you're great as well. And I'll call you out. You did an easel. I saw it on your Instagram.
Thank you.
That's your design, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I
Mhm.
was so impressed. How did that come about?
So I had a friend who is a graphic designer, and I would love his work. His name's Connor Claver, and I asked him, I was like, can you do some of my branding? I want like a logo. And he's like, yeah, could you make me an easel? And he just gave me parameters.
Cool.
Basically, it was just, I want to be able to use an easel this size and be able to tilt the easel at 15 degrees and vertically. And design is up to you. So I kind of went crazy with it. It was a lot more than he expected. Even he was like,
Yeah.
you could do simple like pine, whatever. I was like, no, we're gonna we're gonna take this a
Wow.
little next level. And I know it's utilitarian, but he and I had a discussion, and what I really respected about him as well is this concept of like surrounding yourself with beautiful things, even if they are
Yes.
utilitarian. So that was kind of the idea behind that was, yes, it's going to get covered in paint, but I still want you to, it's
Sure.
going to sit in your room, right? Like you're going to look at this thing all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, that motivated me.
I just love easels. I love people's designs on the easels. And I was just blown away by that. I was like, oh wow. You have a great eye, by the way. So
Thank you.
man, maybe Phil's gonna be working for you someday.
Right. He's not still on here, right?
I know. He's gonna. Oh my God. I wonder if he's ever gonna do a shop talk with us. If I ask him, I don't
Right.
know.
I'm sure he would.
He'll say, no, Sedge. Too cool. Okay. Hey, so well, I know you work at Austin, and I know you work at Phil. So you guys got some Festool hanging around there, huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, we have a
So
few
what's your
items.
what's your favorite Festool that you use in the shop?
So the vacuum clamp is so impressive. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's cool.
it changes the work holding. Like I can't believe we did some record cabinets about a year ago. And so all the edge banding, you just rotate that thing, and you don't
That
have
cool.
to pick up these big pieces of plywood. It was impressive. I am super impressed by that thing.
so what? So what's really funny is that is one of my favorite things too. I don't use one here because we discontinued it. Oh my God. But I
Oh,
use it at home. I use it at home all the time. You want to talk about speeding up work? Wow. Not clamping and unclamping. It's fun. That's funny.
right.
Oh.
It was
Do you guys get any sanders there that you use from Festool? I know they have some
yes.
at Austin. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the I can't remember the model name, but the finish level
Yeah.
sander.
Yeah.
And that thing does great. I mean, we've used it since I've started here, so about 4 years, and that's been great
Cool.
to have. Yeah, we
Cool.
take it to 320, and it's impressive.
Yeah.
No
All
swirls.
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh God. What else can I ask you here? Let's see. Oh, I was also. I don't mean to be a stalker, but I was looking through the feed, and you guys got a shaper there, don't you? A shaper origin that you're
Yeah. So
using.
we have two. I have one, and Phil has one. But yeah,
Ah.
that's been fun. Yeah, and I mean that tool is so intuitive. Um, I was able to I pick it up pretty quickly, and yeah, it's once you understand the concept, it's so easy to use, and it's just
Yeah.
limitless. Yeah,
Huh. It's
they
interesting. Uh, do you use because there's two softwares. When I first started investigating it, because I have a way of using it that I was like, okay, I don't know how to use Fusion 360. I don't know how to use the other one, Adobe uh, Illustrator. I don't, but they have now Shaper Labs, which I
yes,
really like, and it's so easy. I was up and running, I think, in
mhm.
like 3 hours watching a couple videos, and it
Yeah,
seems
that's
like,
pretty impressive.
yeah, I just think it's one of those tools that it's it's going to change the way we do a lot of things. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's see. Okay, in the future, Oh, let's look in the future. Where do you see yourself going with all of this? You know, you're a teacher's assistant. Um, do you see yourself? I know you have taught a few classes, correct?
I mostly assisting. I will be teaching in September, um, like a beginner's class with another teacher at the school. So we'll kind of co-teach.
Cool.
But yeah, I haven't done any classes myself, but I'm trying to line a few up this year, kind of get
Good.
started with that. Yeah, that's
Good.
a big element of what I want to do is teach. Again, it's paying it forward, and it's, you know, when I started, it was difficult because I didn't. It's hard to do something you don't see a version of yourself in. I always talk about this, but I feel
Ah,
like representation is so important, and um, yeah, until I saw like a version of myself in this, I wasn't as comfortable jumping in because you just don't know. You're like, do like other people like me do this? And so for me, teaching and just being a voice for that is a huge part of what I want to do. Like I said, paying it forward. And then
good.
um, I like production work, like small batch production, which is what I do for Phil right now. Um, and moving forward, I'd like, to have a few pieces that I um, do small productions of. I like the repetition a lot. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I find it like
Huh.
meditative, and I also just, you know, uh, as accessible as you can make. Like, of course, I want to make a living, but I want to make pieces as accessible as possible. So,
Huh.
that doing a small run of
Interesting.
something kind of makes it a little bit more accessible.
No, that's so interesting to me. Um, hopefully it is to the listeners, and I know it is because you said something about production work. I agree, but I never called it meditative, and I think it is, right? You get that zen, that zone that you get into, and everything
Mhm.
else just melts away.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
And
I
then
guess
it's
it is meditative. Huh.
right. And then there's enough of the like changing things up. I'm still going to a different jig or going to a different setup. So it's not just all day long of milling. It's a little mix of
Yeah,
both, which I find that balance really nice.
yeah. I'm trying to get stuff arranged at the house, and I just I had one thing I needed to do Saturday morning, and I walked out and I just went squirrel, right? And I started and I made but I saw a piece of curly maple that I just had hanging there, and I went, hang on a second, this, and I said, someday I want to make a plane hammer, and this will be the handle. I said, wait a minute, I got
Nice.
those heads, and I went into my office that I bought for a buck 50, 15, 20 years ago each. And I went, I got in a zone, Amanda, and I was blown away. 4.5 hours just drifted away. And
Mhm.
sometimes I do forget how much I really enjoy creating. And I think that's another zone you get into, right? Is when you're
Right.
creating and designing something. Huh.
Mhm. It's it's
Cool.
it's so therapeutic having something like a tangible object at the end of that too. Like having
Yeah.
evidence of like, oh, I put this much time and effort into this and thought, and it's in front of me. Like I can see it and the result of
Yeah.
that work. So it's
Yeah. I
rewarding.
always I always get a kick out of it because I'm a show off, and when somebody comes to the house and my wife is giving a tour of the house, and someone says, "Oh, where did you get that?" And she goes, "He made it." And they go, "He made that?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"What do I look like?" Right? It's just funny. It's just funny because
Yeah.
it's that
That's
pride.
good
I,
too.
I guess it's that. I guess it's pride that you take in your craft, right? And people
Right.
like go,
Yeah.
"Wow, that looks like that came with the house." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?"
Is that good?
No, I don't know if that's good or bad. I didn't know how to take that one. It was the mudroom I built out. And they go, "Hey, did that come with the house?" One of the ladies, and I was like, "Was that good or bad?" Because a lot of the houses were a bunch of hacks that did the trim. But besides that,
I'm sure it's good.
what, whatever. Oh my God. So here's kind of a question that I do ask a lot of people. in woodworking, whether it's teaching or building something, production, what are your biggest struggles for you?
Ooh. So with design, I always hit this wall of like it almost that imposter syndrome feeling. I do where I'm almost done with the design, and I'm like I absolutely hate this, you know, and it happens every time, and I have to like push myself through it. That easel had several renditions before and what was funny is I kind of went back to the original after all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't stand this. I'm just gonna go with this and trust my gut. I find that's one of the biggest struggles for me is like really,
Wow.
and it self doubt. You know, it's
Oh yeah. Oh,
you,
I totally agree. I. It's funny. People will say, "Sage, you're really confident." I go, "Oh, time out." So I'll tell you a quick. I'll tell you a quick story. You said something imposter syndrome. I suffered for that. I suffered with that at Festool for the first like year because I was a builder. I was a cabinet maker out of Fort Lauderdale, and I built every day of my life, 7 days a week if I could, right? So I come up here, and I don't know what happened. A year went by, and I was like, and I'm designing these end user classes and trying to take the program a little bit further in training, and all of a sudden I was going, "Am I doing this right? Right?
yeah.
Am I doing that? Because that's the way I built things." So I had a guy from Pittsburgh in here, and I was showing him what I was doing in the class, and I pulled him aside. He goes, "Is that how you do it?" He goes, "That's exactly how I do it." Said, "Don't doubt yourself, right?"
Yeah.
So that's what I guess that's what we go through. And I always tell everybody when I'm designing something, I never not trust my eye. If it doesn't look right, it's not right. There's a measurement off. There's something not right. So, but boy, do I have self-doubt sometimes when I'm designing the piece. Because you know why? I don't sell it anymore. It has to sit in my house. Right?
Right.
And boy, do I have a critic at home. Holy macaroni.
Give me good
Too
at that,
cool.
right?
Oh my God. That doesn't look right, honey. Oh, really, huh? Too cool. Too cool.
Yeah.
So, hey, this is kind of weird. I don't want to say we're coming out of the pandemic because it just keeps lingering and lingering. But
Right.
let's go back to 2020. What were your thoughts on that? You were probably at the school. It was like, how did you get through all of this?
That was a really intense time. I was working for the school, for a nonprofit, running a wood shop, and part-time for Phil. And really, I think I was only at Phil's once or twice a week. So obviously the school just stopped. And then the nonprofit I worked at, it was a tiny shed we were running a wood shop out of, so that had to stop. I started doing actual custodial work at the nonprofit, which was terrifying because we didn't know, gloved up, masked up. I didn't know, we didn't know at that time what was going on. So that didn't last too long. I couldn't do it. But it was very intense. I lost a couple commissions. This all happened in the span of a week. And it was just so intense. So yeah, that Phil actually came to me during that time and was like, I have nonstop work. I can hire you full time. So I was so grateful for that too because it was just me and him in the shop too, so we could keep going and keep working. But that was a huge blessing because it was for a moment I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do right now.
Wow. No, but it was. I tell people I was scared. Well, I didn't know what was going to happen, but thank God nobody skipped a beat here at Festool. Our repair was here every day. We kept shipping out every day, but I was scared, man. There was one time we had to close the doors for a sanitation. I didn't know if I was coming back. It was weird, huh?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know how I got through there. So you like living in Austin?
I do. I just moved outside of Austin, about 45 minutes outside of Austin, closer to Phil's shop. because I was
Oh,
commuting
cool.
an hour each way back and forth, and it was really
Oh,
intense.
no
So
way.
yeah,
Oh,
I
no way.
just couldn't do it anymore.
Oh man, I was in Chicago beginning of last week. I was up there for 3 days, and man, you want to talk about traffic in Chicago? Whoo! I couldn't wait to get back to Indiana. Oh my God! Hey, you moved there 7 years ago. Where from?
El Paso, Texas. So I
Oh,
grew
cool.
up
So
in El Paso.
you're a native Texan, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I love Texas. I have a great time every time I'm down there in Austin. Everybody is so
Yeah.
daggone nice. Am I seeing it wrong? But everybody's
No,
nice.
when I even from El Paso to Austin, when I first moved to Austin, that was a huge shift for me. I'm like, why are you being nice to me? What's the agenda here? Not used to
Yeah.
people just walking up and talking to you. And yeah, Austin's very friendly, so I enjoy
so
that.
so we were grabbing a bite to eat right before going to see Austin, and Chris, our camera guy, said, "Look something up, in the area." We went to Austin. Is it Austin, Java? Have you been there, Austin,
I
Java?
haven't
It's
been
around the
there.
corner from the school. And we
Oh,
walk
okay.
in, and there's this tall guy, and he looks at me as we walk in. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I kind of turned around and I go, like I had my shirt on, right? It said Festool, and he goes, "Man," he goes, "what are you doing here?" He goes, "Look, it's Big D and Chris." And I'm going, "What's going on?" And he goes, "I watch you every Friday. I run a trim carpentry."
Oh, how cool.
And he goes, "Oh, you're here to see Austin School of Furniture?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "He's my neighbor." And I was like,
What?
"What?" And I'm like, "The
That's
food was
wild.
fantastic. It was one of the best breakfasts I had this year." Big D's nodding, man. We shot the general BS with this guy. What a nice town that is. I'd move there in a heartbeat. It's
Man,
cool.
that's not at all unbelievable, though. That's Austin
Yeah,
in a nutshell for
yeah.
sure.
Hey, have you met Joe Rogan yet? He moved there.
Right? I have
that's
not.
probably
No.
that's probably what everybody asks nowadays. Hey, have you met Joe Rogan yet?
Rogan. Yeah.
God, yeah, that is so cool. Okay, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Is there any question I should have asked you?
Hmm, good question. I don't know if I can think of anything. You covered quite a bit. I'm shocked, like how much we talked about already.
It's cool, huh?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I talk about this, I'll say, "Hey, it's gonna be 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes," and next thing I know, I go, "Wow, you know what? It's just hanging out with good people, and that's all this is about." And
Mhm.
I'm gonna end it like this. I want to thank you, Amanda. Um, I'm not a stalker, but I have been following you on Instagram for quite some time, and I think you are one of the truly up and comers in the woodworking community. And you are fantastic. I was so privileged to be able to meet you at Rubio Monaco and the Festool Makers event. And by the way, everybody, just so you know, on her team, she saved the day several times. And I was so impressed. I think I bored everybody here at Festool talking about you because I thought you were like unbelievable. So I'm going to stop
Oh, thank
gushing.
you.
I want to thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, thank you. It was an honor. So good talking to you and seeing you again. I had such a blast at that event. It was so fun getting to hang out with you finally.
Yeah, it was
But
cool,
thank you
huh?
so much.
And thank you for being you. We really appreciate it, Amanda.
Thank you, Sedge.
Okay. I'll talk to you later. Everybody, thank
Talk to you
you.
soon.